Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another training video. Students, today we will discuss about heat stress. First of all, we will check what is the definition of heat stress. So heat stress is a body unable to regulate or maintain normal body temperature. As you all know, the normal temperature of your body is 36.7 degrees centigrade, or if we will talk about Fahrenheit, it will be 98.7 Fahrenheit. So what happened while we're working in the cold environment, we're working at outside area, the outer temperature of our body is getting more higher than our body's temperature, which will directly affect the temperature of our body's outer layer. So what happened, our body is automatically start draining water from our bones, which we call the sweating. Sweating help to cool down the body's outer temperature by itself. So the water quantity which was in our body is getting low because the water is evaporated from our body to cool down its temperature. If the quantity of the water inside the body is getting too low and our body is unable to regulate or maintain the normal body temperature, that condition or that ill health will be considered as heat stress. There are three factors which should be considered while talking or learning about heat stress. The first one is the temperature, the atmospheric temperature. After that, the humidity. What is the humid ratio in your environment? And at the end, what is the activity you are performing? If you are doing some manual job, you are getting more tired. Your body will be discharged more sweating. So your body temperature will be getting high very soon. So these are the three factors which will contribute in your heat stress. Fine. Now we will talk about the other factors which can contribute toward heat stress. As we discussed, high temperature and humidity is one of them. After that, if you are working in direct sunlight or you are working in the high heat atmosphere, your body will be getting more heat stress, or in short time maybe you are exposed to heat related illness which is heat stress. After that, limited air movement. If there is no wind in your atmosphere, there is more chances to getting heat stress. The next factor is physical exertion, mean manual job. If you have to do some physical work, your body is at more risk, you will get the heat stress very early. Then the physical poor condition. If you are not feeling well, if you are old age, if you are not medically fit, then there is more chances of heat stress occur to you. After that, under medication. If you are not feeling well, you have some health issues, you have some metabolic problems, or you are taking some type of medications, so there is a high chance you might be exposed to heat stress illness. After that, inadequate tolerance for hot workplaces, not properly managing the job or not practicing the job rotation at your workplace will be the one of the highest considerable factor which can contribute to heat stress of your workforce. Heat stress can be elaborated in different types which we will discuss later. Now we will talk about the symptoms, the early symptoms or early prediction of heat stress. It is the signs that your body might be going toward the heat stress exposure. The first one is the feeling weak or fatigued. You are not able to work as much you can do in your normal routine. After that, the headache, one of the most common symptom. If you are working in high heat atmosphere, it will indicate you that you might be exposed to the heat stress. After that, dizziness and fainting are also symptoms. After this, loss of concentration, confusion, irritability. You cannot focus what you are doing, or you cannot pay attention to somebody's instruction which can be helpful for your job. After that, the slurred speech. You want to speak something but you are unable to explain your things clearly. Then heavy sweating. If your body is getting too much sweating, it means the fluid, the water level inside of your body is getting too low. So it's one of the symptoms that your body might be exposed to the heat stress. After that, the red hot, dry skin with no sweating. What happened when all the fluid, all the water of your body is drained out, then your body cannot spray or cannot sprinkle more sweating on your body. So what happened? That part of your skin which is directly exposed to sunlight or the hot surface, that become red. Why it become red? Because of direct contact of the heat. So if something happened to your skin, dry skin, some rashes, so it is one of the indicator that you might be exposed to heat stress. After that, nausea, vomiting because the water imbalance in your body, rapid breathing, your metabolic rate will be too high because the blood circulation need the oxygenated blood. There is no water in your body, so blood cannot extract the oxygen from the water, so your breathing will be more disturbed. Then fast weak pulse rate, then tingling, numbness of your finger toes, there is some muscle cramps. These will be the symptom that your body might be exposed to the heat stress. After the early symptoms, now we will discuss about the conditions of heat related illness, or we can say what are the most common types of heat stress. The first one is heat stroke, then heat exhaustion, heat cramps, heat fainting. The last one is the heat rashes. Heat rashes, as we can say, the severe condition of the symptom which we discussed earlier, dry skin or red hot skin. Now we will discuss all these types of heat related illness in detail, like what is actual illness, what are the symptoms, and how we can provide the first aid to the person who will be involved in that type of illness. The first one, heat related illness, is heat strokes. Most serious form of heat related illness happens when the body becomes unable to regulate its core temperature, sweating stops, and the body can no longer rid itself of excessive heat. There is no enough water in your body to automatically cool down its temperature. What will be the symptoms? The confusion, fainting, red hot dry skin, very high body temperature will be the symptoms for heat strokes. What first aid we can provide? Place the person in cool and shaded area. You have to take the person and you have to keep him inside the cold shaded area. Give plenty of water. Give air or fan or direct exposure of air conditioned. Provide him the cold ventilation so his body can be gradually cooled down and will affect properly. The next illness we will discuss, that is heat exhaustion. It is the result of the combination of excessive heat, mean working in high heat atmosphere, and then his body is going through dehydration. Untreated heat exhaustion can lead to heat stroke. The symptom will be cold moist skin, heavy sweating, headache, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, weakness, thirst, irritation, fast heartbeat. So these are some of the symptoms for heat exhaustion. What first aid we will provide to the affected person? Stop his work immediately. Give him plenty of water. Let him rest for 3 to 4 hours in cold shaded area with air condition supply to avoid the heat stroke effect. Now we will discuss about the heat cramps. Involuntary muscle contractions that occurs after exercise or working in hot environment, usually due to electrolyte imbalance. Mean when you are working in the hot atmosphere, you are getting sweating, which is not only the water, it will contain some type of minerals and it take out from your body, which can be considered as sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, etc. So what happens when the electrolyte imbalance occurs in your body? Then the muscle cramp can be occurs in your body. Some major symptoms of heat cramps can be muscle spasms, muscle pain, usually in abdomen, arms or legs. The first aid we can provide: give rest to the person, provide water or cold beverage, include electrolytes in your water, lemon or some quantity of salt, then give rest at least for 8 hours. Consult with the doctor if the muscle cramps not go away by itself. The next type of heat stress is heat fainting, caused by the decreased blood flow to the brain due to blood pooling in the legs. If the person has been standing still for a long time in a hot environment, if you are working in a hot environment and you are some physical activity, which you have to perform in a standing position, then the heat fainting can be the heat related illness which attacks you. So could also be due to lack of acclimatization. Recovery is rapid after the person lies down in the cold environment. So what will be the symptoms? Light headache, dizziness, brief loss of consciousness. The first aid we can provide, we have to let the person sit on the cold area, give him plenty of water to drink. After the rest of some time, the person can be worked with his full capacity, but make sure the regular break should be entertained or job rotation should be practiced to avoid the reoccurrence. The last type of heat related illness is heat rash. It is happens when a skin irritation caused by sweat that does not evaporate from the skin. Because the water level in your body is now getting too low, your body cannot evaporate that water from your skin to cool down its temperature. The symptoms can be the red bumps on the skin, often appears on neck, upper chest, folds of skin, basically the part of your body which are directly exposed to the heat or directly sunlight. The first aid we should have to provide, give the water to the person, apply powder on the rashes by the doctor or consultant. Otherwise you can put the some heat rashes cream before the start of your work in the heat atmosphere or directly in the sunlight to avoid these type of heat related illness. The human or job factor that can contribute to the heat stress we will discuss in this slide. The first one is less intake of the water. If you are not maintaining the required quantity of water in your body, then you might be exposed to the heat stress, which is only because of dehydration. After this, no regular breaks. If you are working in directly sunlight or high heat atmosphere, you must have to take the regular breaks. In the normal condition, you have to take 10-minute break after every 30 minutes. After this one, lack of acclimatization, especially for the newcomers or the person who rejoin the duties after some short breaks, they must gradually increase their exposure toward the heat. After this one, the lack of sleep. In the normal condition, a human being have to sleep for the 6 hours. But as per recommendations, if you have to work in the high heat atmosphere, you must sleep 8 hours to maintain the proper rest of your body. Then the physical unfit. If you are not medically fit or if you are not competent to perform some activity in the high heat exposed area or directly in the sunlight, and if you are doing that activity, you will put your life in danger. After that, multi-layered clothing. In the high heat atmosphere, everybody recommends you to wear the loose clothing and lightweight clothing to avoid their effect on the body. After that, lack of breakfast. The breakfast is the thing which provides the energy to your body for start of your day. If you are missing or you are skipping your breakfast, your body will not get the enough energy to work in the early start hours of the day, which will be the one of the most important factor contributed toward the heat stress illness toward your body. After this, we will discuss how we can prevent heat stress. The one of the only logic, stay hydrated. Maintain the required water level of your body. Drink plenty of water before, during and after work. Aim for at least 2 liter water every 2 or 3 hours during your work. Drink more if you are not thirsty. You have to set a regular intervals to drink the water. Don't wait until you are thirsty. The drinks which you can take in hot summer is water, juice, and you have to use the fruit and vegetables to make sure your body have the enough energy to work and enough quantity of water to survive. You have to ignore the tea and coffee, soda drink and caffeinated sports drink, which we will say that energy drinks we have to avoid, that they will provide you a instant energy. They will just boost up your energy level. They will not provide or they will not give you a backup store of the energy. Fine. Now in this slide we will discuss that how you can track your hydration level. So the best example, the color of your urine. Whenever you have to go to washroom for urine passing, you have to observe the color of your urine while you are working at the hot atmosphere or directly in sunlight. If the color is white, as you can see the top of the drop, this means you are well hydrated. You just have to continue the practice of drinking water which you are currently using. If you move little down in the drop, you will see the pale yellow color. It means you are dehydrated. You need to drink more water as per your current practice. Mean you have to drink 250 ml water every 30 minutes. So you will maintain your good hydration level. When we will move down to the drop, you will say that extremely yellow, or you can say the orange color. It means you are severely dehydrated. You have to take rest in the cold shaded area, and you have to drink the plenty of water to make sure your body is well hydrated. So this is the one of the best tool to monitor your hydration level while you are working in the hot atmosphere or direct sunlight. The next tool which can be used to reduce or to eliminate the exposure of heat stress on the human body is acclimatization. What it means, once acclimatized, our body is less likely to experience heat related illness. Mean to say you have to increase the gradually exposure of yourself towards the heat. Usually it will take 7 to 10 days to acclimatize. Step 1, what is that? Allow workers to self pace whenever possible. It means give the worker that quantity of job which they can perform easily as per their human capacity. Step 2 is that gradually increase workload and exposure to heat. Step by step, if you are increasing or you are add on some of your responsibility or exposure toward heat, then you can survive. Your body is well used to about that conditions. If all of a sudden you just put too much exposure or you just put too much load on someone, that the person should be collapsed. Step 3 is that allow new or returning workers more frequent breaks. The person who is the first time in the heat or atmospheric, they must be acclimatized from these conditions. Gradually you have to increase their exposure as well, and you have to provide regular break in the cold shade area so their body can maintain their body temperature, and then their bodies will be familiar with these type of conditions. Mostly the new workers and the workers who came back from the illness or from long leaves, they need to be acclimatized as per the condition change, or as per they are just approaching to their first summer, or they have to work in the high heat exposure atmosphere. Another tool which can be used to reduce or eliminate the heat exposure is buddy system. Working in the pair helps the worker recognize sign and heat related illness and get immediate help. If the person he cannot determine or he cannot understand the symptom on himself, his buddy can understand or demonstrate that you are going through the symptoms of heat stress. So timely if they report the symptoms, we can provide them the first aid and we can save the life of that person. So what will be the steps? So step 1 is split your job into different parts. Sometimes your employee A have to work and employee B will take rest, then the employee A will go for the rest, then employee B will come to the work. So you will complete your task in as a teamwork. Step 2 is that remind them to always remain together during the shift. They must have to work as the pair. If somebody have to go for some rest, the other should not continue their work until the first person came back. They have to start the work all together all the time. The last step is ensure they know how to manage heat related illness. They must have to go through from this training. Immediately inform to the supervisor or first aider if any of the symptom occurred from any of the one employee. Take necessary step to help the victim recover. The second person, the buddy, should be a smart worker. He know how to handle the situation if somebody is trapped in heat stress. After this, there are responsibilities which are liable for the supervisor, or we can say the employer, to provide a safe working condition and safe working procedure to their workforce. Here is how we can help to protect our workers against heat related illness. The first step is the planning. Assess heat stress using the TWL guidelines. You must have to check all the time while your workforce are working in the high heat atmosphere, or they are working in direct sunlight. Then gradually acclimatize the workers, the new workers or the workers who came back from vacations or from their illness. Then conduct a toolbox talk to manage heat stress. Whenever you are working in this type of condition, you must have to mention the hazards and control measures related to heat stress. You have to make sure all of your employees are aware about the heat stress. What are the types, what are the symptoms, what are the first aid they must have to provide, and how they can eliminate or reduce their exposure to direct sunlight or heat. Then the last step, implementation of buddy system. You have to manage the job smartly. You have to provide them regular breaks. You have to set the targets on some realistic basis that the person can be complete their task or job without affecting their health or without putting their health in danger. Then during the shift work, you have to make sure provide penalty of drinking water close to the work area. People should not travel a long distance to drink of water, otherwise they will dehydrated up to that time they reach their work location. Provide worker with rest break shaded area. The rest shelter should be very near to their workplace so people can take a frequent break during their job activity. Watch the sign of heat related illness. The supervisor must be aware about what are the expected symptoms to any employee. Supervisor have to take care of all the employee while they are working. Active supervision must be ensured to avoid any heat stress or heat related illness. At the end, you have to make sure the first aid requirement should be fulfilled. If somebody, some employee, some worker is exposed or some worker is involved in heat stress, how you will save his life? You have to ensure that affected person receive medications as soon as possible. It is important that we all know how to identify, how to treat and how to prevent this type of illness.